straight moto wins to start SMX. And it is going to be Hunter Lawrence, the biggest win perhaps in his career.
You know what time it is. It's getting down to the wire here, RV, but another episode of Title 24 presented by NBC Sports. We got a good show for you guys today. A lot to unpack for sure. Some great fan questions. When I was looking at the rundown, RV, there's some really, really good questions and fan engagement for sure. Like always, thank you, United Motorsports, Quadlock Case, Boxo, and Dunlop. We appreciate all of you guys. I mean, you talk about the segments, the Boxo breakdown, and United Motorsports moment of the week, and Quadlock Case, and the Dunlop debate. Some really, really good stuff. We got some great sound bites for you that I think you guys are going to be pumped on. But first and foremost, dude, how about that? How about the yellowtail that you guys slayed up yesterday? That looked rad, bro.
Yeah, it was. It was long day yesterday. We went out of Huntington Beach yesterday with a charter called Tuna Twins, and man, we were able to get 3 on the deck. They were actually all bluefin. Biggest one we got was about 120 pounds.
Bluefin, yeah.
Bluefin, yeah, they're amazing fish, and brought my uncle, my kids, my wife, Dennis right there. So we had a blast, man. I'm wore out though. I'm tired. I was out in the sun on the boat all day,
Right.
sunburnt, so as you can hear it in my voice, it was a long weekend. We actually did a little flat tracking on Saturday night. Got the boys out to Costa Mesa Speedway for Knobby night. So we did that Saturday night, and then woke up Sunday morning and went fishing. So it's been a long weekend already.
Dude, that looked so. How much meat will you get like off of that?
So they said it's about a 60% yield on those fish. So you get a lot of meat off of those fish. So it was a blast, man. My first time tuna fishing, and I'm lucky enough to be able to find those boys, the Tuna Twins.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking for a charter out here in Southern California that I could get on with, and those boys did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's harder to find. It's harder than you think to find. I feel good fishing guides that produce, and like you were talking about it before we did recording that, and that are fun to be around. Also,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's harder than you think, at least from my personal experience. Right.
I totally agree. That's why it's taken me a while to find somebody to go with, to spend the money, to obviously have to put fish on the deck, but also to have an enjoyable time. I think we kind of beat to our own drum, and when it comes to that, I really try to pick my guides well. So we were lucky enough to find a good one, and now we have them in the phone book. So next year it's on.
Well, RV, I think the biggest thing outside of the racing, obviously you watch the racing, but being at Texas Motor Speedway, which is cool, great venue. Smith's got some pretty good operations. They run some nice facilities, but nevertheless, I think the biggest takeaway for me was just how gnarly the track was condition wise. It was really hot this weekend. It was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help anything, as you can imagine, trying to keep moisture down. There wasn't a lot of cloud coverage. It was a little gloomy, like hazy, I would say, on Saturday compared to what it was Friday, but still, I mean, the track is like we would call it. It was just baked. I mean, the SMX track crew did a great job and did all that they could do, but just the base of the dirt and what they brought in there was just super, super compact and less than spectacular conditions. But again, it was good racing and exciting, and there's a twist, but I got spoiled, I think, from Concord and how good the track was. It just looked like, we talked about it last week. It just looked like a fun track. And I don't think that anyone was really vibing on this weekend's track. But nevertheless, the Boxo breakdown, if you haven't, check out boxousa.com. Good stuff. I've been saying it for a couple of years now. Their warranty program is awesome. Basically, lifetime warranty, super easy process. Take a picture, send it in, and they'll send you a new part, that whatever you need if something went wrong with your tool. So make sure you guys check those out. But Ziggy Sokolowski asks, talked about how slippery. The riders talked about how slippery and hard packed this track was. What could fix that? I I don't
Uh,
know, RB. What? No
yeah, I mean,
slide.
look. I mean, from a fan's perspective, from an analyst side of it, like,
Yeah.
um, obviously, I would have hate to race that track, that type of dirt.
Hmm.
But from sitting on the couch, it brings and adds a whole nother element, as we saw. Really short start this weekend, shortest start we've seen all year.
Yeah.
They didn't even get out of second gear. That start was a reaction start. If you didn't get the reaction time out of the gate,
Hmm.
um, there wasn't enough time or room to make up any ground on anybody. So because the first turn was just so close, but just that dirt being so hard, I can remember going to the new Dallas Supercross Stadium. We had very similar dirt. I've raced on that very similar dirt, and it adds a whole another aspect. I heard you call it out, Ricky, is the feedback through the chassis, through the motorcycles, through the handlebars. It's very, very, very different, and much more feedback than riding on some dirt that has some compliancy. So it makes it very tough. Traction was down. There's lots of blue groove out there. And the other thing, the track was really tight. It was one of our tightest super motocross tracks we've had.
Yeah.
So which made never going straight for very long ever. Always on a lean, always turning. It funnels down into being a very one-line track. So it made you really, really have to think, put yourself in good positions. Eli had some very successful epic passes into that right-hand sand turn, cutting up underneath.
Hmm.
But yeah, I thought the track was tough. I wouldn't wanted to race it, but I like the element that it brought into into the SMX rounds, because we just like we saw, we had a completely different winner, a new winner. It's his first time, Hunter Lawrence, for an SMX
Yep.
overall win, so that was huge for him, and he's sitting now with a 1-point lead.
Yeah, yeah, really, a great ride. Not surprising in a way, and we'll talk about that a little later in the United Motorsports Moment of the Week when we do a deep dive into the 450. Yeah, as far as Ziggy's question too, like, how do you fix that? It's so tough to fix those conditions. If it's new dirt that they've never worked with, how it's going to shape up. At the conditions outside make it very, very difficult. It's like you could just really never get a hold of it. There's a lot of things that you can do as far as like tilling it up and keeping it deep and ripped. But at the same time, while you're doing that, then there's a safety side of things to where you can't have the thing just a slop hole muddied so there's no dust and it doesn't get hard. So it's a balance, and it's to answer this question, it's hard. It's almost impossible to get it just right. It
Hmm.
really is.
And I
Like,
think the question that has to be asked is, why do we need it right? Like that's
yeah,
the thing. From a rider standpoint, yes, I would have hated racing it. It would have been very tough, technical, a bit
yep.
sketchy. But from a fan's perspective, being in that this is we have 3 SMX rounds, it adds that element into it, like we saw this weekend. Different
Mhm.
winner, different outcome, and that's what, from a fan's perspective, that's what we want, right? It's mixing these points up, and we're going into the third round, which is going to be out in Vegas, and it's triple points, so it's going to be really interesting. So I like it. It's added that extra, and it's extra element, and it's kept the points very tight.
Yeah, I that too. Yeah, let the boys race on some imperfect conditions for sure. It doesn't always have to be right. Good question though, Ziggy. And then of course, dude, NJP coming in. I think NJP is probably one of our most loyal fans that has been tuned
Always
in.
got the questions. Always got the
Sure.
questions.
Always good one. So, NJP, should the best riders in the world be able to find a way to handle difficult conditions, or does SMX need to do more due diligence on the dirt they're installing and look further ahead to ensure it's of a higher quality? I think that myself personally, like RV, you just answered his question,
Yep.
in the previous and Ziggy's question, like, hey, why does it always have to be perfect? Also, I think NJP is like, it depends. Like, and I'll use this as an example. So we race at Arlington every year. pretty much know, like, unless there's a catastrophe of some silly reason, we're going to be there. So the investment from Feld's side, they're probably willing to put in a little bit more in the dirt and sifting it or whatever it might be to get it a perfect condition, rather than going and doing something and spending a whole bunch of resources on some dirt and soil that maybe you won't be there ever again. Everything is a business, as we know. And like what you said too, Ryan, like, dude, it doesn't always have to be perfect, right?
Mm,
And they
mhm.
did the best that they could do. So I don't think that there was anything that they could have done to make it that much better when you take everything into account. Um, that's my opinion, and I think straight up that everyone has the same track to deal with,
Yes.
and right.
Yes.
So, like, dude, if your bike isn't the best, then you gotta grit through it, and you gotta do the best that you can given the conditions, because everyone has the same track to ride. And I think that all of the bikes are winnable,
Mhm.
or and you have to find what that edge is and how you can get the best result on your bike given the conditions. That's my
Yep.
opinion.
Yep. Or manage your weekend well with maybe a bike that is off, right? So that's what I had said. That extra element. And anybody can ride on good tacky dirt, and if the bike's a little off, the bike still handles and it still works,
Mhm.
and you're able to ride the motorcycle to its fullest potential. But when you're on a condition like that we just saw at Dallas,
Mhm.
your bike's under a magnifying glass. So I'm
Right.
sure everybody, I heard it and read it and saw it. Everybody was struggling with something, right? So
Yeah.
it makes it tough, but that's what makes our sport so prestigious.
That's right. There's still that human element, right? Compared to
Mm,
like four wheels, still at the end of the day, it comes down to man,
yep,
And so
always.
that's what's cool. That is what's so cool. All right. United Motorsports moment of the week. I am really excited about this. We got a couple sound bites that we're going to listen to here in a little bit. But before we get going, remember United Motorsports, they're doing that grand prize sweepstake. And the only chance you have to win that, or an opportunity to win that, is if you sign up. So make sure you head over to unitedmotorsports.com/title 24. And when you sign up to be a grand prize winner, you also get a $15 credit that they will give you for first time signups. So make sure you do that, because they are going to pick a winner after Las Vegas. So I think next week on our show, we will pick the SMX championship winner. So remember, we did it for Supercross, for motocross, and now of course SMX World Championship. So go over there, sign up so you can win. I can tell you, you will be pumped with what they'll be giving you guys. Right out of the gate. Aaron, run the sound on tape real quick. I just want to go. I'm gonna take a victory lap here, RV. So
That's
run the
right.
tape. He could be sneaky, dude, for the SMX World Championship. He's going to go in the number 2 seed. He could be a sleeper. People are going to say, why do you think he's a sleeper? Because if the Chase and Jett battles start going crazy and one guy throws it down, then the other guy throws it down, Hunter's right there. Maybe he's up there to pick up the pieces, and
Hmm.
he's riding well. So don't sleep on that guy. So I wouldn't say that the Jett and Chase things have heated up, but that was a soft little prediction that I'm happy about. And listen, he's been solid. He's been solid all year. A lot like you've explained to everyone, our listeners, our viewers, how his progression has been very similar to his 250. Gets better and better and better as the seasons and the years go by. And just, I mean, he's been rock solid. And I think that his riding really caters to the 450. And is it surprising that he's in this situation? I don't think so, if you take everything into consideration.
Yeah, no, and we talked about this too. Like, if you go back, Aaron, if you go back to that start, Kenny flinched, Hunter flinched, and so did Jett. Put himself and so Hunter put himself in a great position up on that inside. Like I mentioned, one of the shortest starts we've had all year. Big mistake by Hunter in that rhythm section. That rhythm section caught out a lot of people. You could see how hard pack it is for the fans that are watching. Like you really got to be really consistent, easy on the throttle on those takeoffs like that. And as we know that, different tire choices and things like that, the track was breaking down. But I think that also we had a fan predict basically like, oh, with this hard dirt, Hunter, potentially this could be his spot, a lot like Australian dirt. I think he mentioned he put himself in a great position off the start, and that track catered to riding very consistent, smooth, and you couldn't override that track. And I think it really kind of, I wouldn't say helped Hunter, but Hunter felt comfortable. But also biggest thing was put himself in that first position right out of that first turn. While all the chaos was behind him on that tight, technical, rough, slippery track, he was able to just manage that second moto.
Yeah, he was. And again, you talked about it on that start. Let's watch that start again, Aaron. It was so crucial. I don't even think that I was asking you, RV, because just to get your opinion, and I'd be surprised if they even had time to shift to third gear there.
Totally. If I had to bet, that was a second gear start right off of the pad, right off the grate, right into the first turn, left at second gear. David Huff was actually the one that kind of predicted that, one of our fans. And he was spot on, just like yourself, Ricky. Hunter's in this thing to win it. He's got a 1-point lead now. And, I think that he's riding very, very, very well. Here we have points up on the screen right now. Hunter with 90, Chase 1 down, Jett minus 9 points, so he's nine back, and Eli Tomac with 21 back.
I want to bring up one thing right here. So everyone who's watching this, you can see it. But if you're just listening, we have a SMX points and how they run. And Eli's 21 points back. And I think I just want to highlight this before we got some sound on tape from Vital MX of Chase talking to Lewis, which was, dude, it was interesting. Super, super interesting. We're going to play it on here for you guys. The content's just too good to not go over it. But, like when I think about Eli and just how it just shows you how important it is to have a really high seeding coming into the playoffs, because now it's like he doesn't have a very good shot of winning the world championship. If he came in and he wasn't injured, like I think you're seeing the repercussions of what a high seeding can do, Hunter Lawrence, and what a low seeding can do, Eli Tomac and of course Jett. So it's important. Like we talk about it, it's a build up. It's important for these guys, especially if you want to have a crack at the world championship. You have to have a high seeding. Yep. Otherwise, you just have to go. You have to go win every race, at least the second one for sure, and probably the third one. That's tough. That's tough to do, man.
It is, and it's in this field, in this stacked field, and with Jett, Hunter, Eli, Chase. I mean, it's really anybody's game. Anybody's race at that point.
It's winner take all. I mean, it's winner take all. Like one of those three guys is going to be the SMX world champion. Second year running. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Vegas is going to be pretty warm. I would expect that racetrack to be hard packed. Let's get to that Vital soundbite. This is like, it's interesting. Roll it.
I just wasn't comfortable last week, and to be honest, I wasn't comfortable. I was more comfortable second moto. Still, we have work to do, but I was able to ride the motos this weekend, which was good, like normal. But we tried a lot. No, I didn't stay calm. We had a meltdown on Wednesday. A meltdown. I mean, I shouldn't do that. That's not called for. But when you want to win, and coming into this weekend, I was like, well, we didn't really make anything better. So am I going to be better this weekend, or am I just going to be the same? So really, I mean, every session we tried something. I was very vocal and just mad all weekend. If I'm not comfortable on the bike and it's not doing the things that I want it to do, then how can, like, it's like going to a race knowing that you're going to get beat is not a good feeling to have. I mean, I always had my hopes up, but I wasn't like, oh, we made huge strides this week, like it's going to be way better. No, I did not think that. Everything else, I can normally mentally turn that off, but when it's your bike and you have to ride it, and you're expected to win on it, but you don't feel comfortable, like that's kind of a crap feeling to have, if that makes any sense. And that's what I've been trying to like reiterate to the team and like the people around me. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to go out there and win, but I'm not comfortable. How do you think that is mentally on a person. Like, it's not fun. And then if I don't go out there and win, everyone just thinks I suck. Yeah, it's tough because you know what you're capable of, but if you aren't comfortable and you can't ride how you want to, how do you expect to go out there and win? It's tough. Like, I've been trying to mentally like overcome that, and I feel like I'm getting better, but like, and it's not like small things. It's like a big, like, we need a lot of change to get better. It's not like I'm like, oh, there's like these little things that are like problems. It's more of like you saw outdoors. I didn't change nothing. I was good all season. And then you go back to Supercross and it's like, oh, I'm starting at scratch, which is tough, but we'll get there. Everyone says it's not about the bike, but you need a bike to match your riding style. And yes, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you need it in the ballpark, and that's where we're trying to get to right now.
Very vocal.
You take it away, dude.
Yeah.
I will say this. Hey, Chase, no one thinks you suck, dude. So like, no, we expect you to win? Absolutely. You expect yourself to win. So yeah, we just expect you to win. We do. You are an unbelievable competitor. You're good. So no, we don't think you suck. How about that? So go ahead. What do you take of all this, RV?
Well, I you can see the frustration, and it seems like they don't know. Obviously, he just said they changed a lot. Full meltdown on Wednesday, coming into the weekend, didn't really fix anything. Threw the kitchen sink at it on Saturday, also Friday and Saturday, and didn't make the bike much better. So the only thing I can say about that is everybody's going to be dealing with something. He may be dealing with a bigger set of problems. But I do say that hypothetically, if he puts himself out of that gate into that first turn, 2 hole shots on the day, yes, on Saturday, I think the outcome's different for him. It's a confidence thing. Yeah, the bike might not have been gelling with him 100% and in the track. And not saying he goes 1-1, but he puts himself in a much better position. When you're coming through the pack and things aren't gelling, you're not gelling with the bike. Now you have you're dealing with a whole different animal, and yourself, your confidence, the motorcycle being a little bit off, the track being tough. That's not a good feeling to be in. I can promise you that. So look, we know every one of these teams in Red Bull KTM, they're trying to make that machine the best they can for Chase. It's not that they're not trying. I can promise you that. But that's the beauty of our sport, right? Is you showing up every weekend ready to win, which I think Chase does. I know he does.
Yeah.
And also with the motorcycle, trying to get that machine to work on all those different conditions. And, this is his first time on these style of tracks with Red Bull KTM. So, and I think that the tracks are different. I think I'm not saying that, they're not running full Supercross and they're not running outdoors, right? There's this, we talked about it year 1 last year with SMX, this hybrid kind of suspension and getting these motorcycles to work with a bit of Supercross, but also outdoors where it's ruddy and rough and things like that. So, but I'll just go back to put yourself in a great position off that start. We just watched that replay, not the position you want to be in, especially if you're not gelling with the motorcycle.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I understand that there's more guys, especially like from my generation. I mean, the field is definitely deeper these days than it was then, right? So, if you get a bad start or you have an ill handling motorcycle, obviously it's going to be harder to hide those mistakes and the uncomfortable stuff. But still, I'm still trying to figure out how, like, one moto, this guy can get a certain position, but then the next moto just like dominate. It's so hard for me to understand that. It's crazy. Like, I know that like the bikes aren't
the tough part, Ricky. That's the tough part right there, right? Like, if you can win a moto on it, it should be good enough to be second or third on the box, on the podium, in the contention for an overall position. I've always said that if you can win a moto on it, you should be able to win or be more consistent than that.
Yeah, I too. And just looking at it, like, I'm sure he's not the only one that's struggling with the motorcycle, dude.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sure that I don't think anyone's bike was absolutely perfect. I don't know that. I'm just completely assuming. I mean, Jett, even on the podium, he said he wasn't happy with how his bike was working.
Silly mistake there with the bike stalling. Normally should have happened, but we're going to go back, do some map, and hopefully clean that up.
I think it comes down to, I think all the bikes are winnable. If I do believe that. I watched them win. I watched two brands win in the 450 class this weekend. I think that what it comes down to is which rider is able to overcome those type of scenarios is the guy that is going to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. And I don't think anyone's bike is great all the time, and you have to be the best at managing those certain circumstances. And again, the guy that is able to do that the most, to manage those circumstances when things aren't great, is the guy that's going to be victorious over a championship type scenario. That's
Yep,
what
I
I think.
agree. In mitigating those risks, that right there would have been two great starts, right? Two whole shots, not gelling with the motorcycle, but at least you're up front. You're in a position to win both of those motos. And that start wasn't, if you're not gelling and you don't have the speed and you know that you're not going to be able to ride to the front, you better start up front then.
Yeah, I mean exactly right, and we'll get into that as far as looking ahead in the preview for Vegas. Jett, I mean, I actually expected Jett to do a little bit better, just based off of what I saw last week, because I was just assuming that he would be better. Had one race underneath his belt, but I will say it didn't seem like he looked that comfortable to me this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what happens coming into next week. Coming into this week and how he plays it. He normally rises to the occasion, like what you've talked about in the past, RV. Yeah, I really don't have too much insight to give, other than I don't think he was 100% comfortable. He talked about how he wasn't comfortable. And I think that he will show up, and you'll see, the best that he's got this weekend.
And I think with that track being as tough as it was, he's only got one gate drop previously, which was the start of our SMX series out in Charlotte, right? So not having a lot of gate drop seat time on the motorcycle, and then you show up on a very interesting, technical, tough, hard pack, slippery, hot day. That makes sense, right? Like I think if you would have put Jett on that track last year's SMX season, I don't think he would have struggled like he struggled
Right.
this last weekend, right? Just because of the seat time and being that the track, like I said, was very tricky.
Yep, it was. Let's see here. Hunter, good win for him. I think he's going to be good. On that soundbite that Aaron had played for us, RV, I think, how I talked about Hunter being sneaky. I thought that he would be close to in contention for to have a shot at the SMX championship. But when I alluded to the fact that, if the Jett and Chase battle gears up and it gets spicy, this is where it could play into Hunter's hand, because I do feel like if it's coming down to the wire, the last lap, and I'm role playing here, coming down to the final moto this week in Vegas, and these three guys are going at it. If there's any beef whatsoever, I think it's going to be between Jett and Chase for all intents and purposes. So if they get into a back and forth, I think that and Hunter's in the right place, it could really help him out. That's what I think. That's what I meant.
Yep. No, I agree because of the points, right? Like, we have triple points coming up here in Vegas this coming weekend. We got Eli with 21 down. So Eli rode phenomenal. I thought he rode really well at this last weekend
Charlotte.
in Dallas. Well,
at Dallas. At
and
Dallas.
Yeah, he showed some real fire, some real speed.
He did.
Bizarre that he's still stuck with the scoop tire. I honestly, it's mind blowing. But I will say, in that regard, Dunlop had the 62. We've talked about it on the show. That was my tire. I ran that tire everywhere. I would have ran that 62 at Dallas. I ran it at Phoenix. Clearly they have it that scoop tire gelling with that YZ450, or he wouldn't have ran it, because that isn't the track where you would run that tire, right? Here's a really good pass on Kenny up the inside. I think he pulled that on 2 dudes.
Yeah, he did.
Week.
That was Moto 1, yeah.
So,
I mean, it looked like it had pretty good side grip there. This was a cool pass right here. This is a cool pass. This is when you get, we're watching, you guys that are only listening, watch the pass that he made on his teammate Cooper Webb when he took a wider entry into the corner and tucked back underneath Coop by the just past the mechanics area. But like right here, like we're watching, is before they goes under the tunnel. I mean, that thing has to have no grip there, right, RV? Like, I don't know, because
I would say no, but he was able to make passes where other people weren't able to make passes. In that tricky rhythm section, that triple or double triple, he was one of the only ones kind of jumping into that inside roller there on a lean all the way through. Jett was able to pull that move, almost getting it done like Eli did. But Eli was able to hold him off right here as we're watching, for the listeners that are watching or viewers that are watching on YouTube. But here's that triple I was talking about. He's able to triple into that inside there, and then still able to hold it tight enough to get back to opening that turn up, so he has that drive down that long straightaway to the finish line.
Yeah. Sticking on the Boxo breakdown section, moving over to the 250. Pretty impressed by Haiden Deegan. Remember, he was fired up about his starts at Concord last weekend, said he was going to work on the starts this weekend. That was 2 good ones.
It was. He rode phenomenal. Like, he's another one that I've said that has a rose to every occasion, everything thrown at him. And I just, he's becoming, or not that he wasn't a smart racer, but he mitigates all of his risks. He puts himself in a great position. And then on top of that, he's got the speed on everybody right now. So, I mean, you really couldn't have a more perfect storm for the guy. He's had one hell of a year.
Yeah, he has. And like, you're watching, like, dude, he's becoming smoother, I think.
Yes.
I know, they're always working, they're always studying to be better, working on form. I thought his bike looked really good this weekend, and what I saw from his bike, and they probably didn't change anything, but it looked like it was a bit more forgiving, didn't look as stiff, and it just looked like, it was comfortable to ride. Again, it could have been completely the opposite, but I think, I mean, like, again, like you said, RV, he's risen to all the occasions. He's been where his back's been against the wall. He gets it done. He backs up what he talks about. He said he was a perfect example is he worked on starts. He pulled both hole shots this weekend, wire to wire for the most part. And dude, you can't ask for anything more than that. I think he's going to be one of the, winner in this class for as long as he wants to race it. Yeah, he talked about it. There's been a lot of people asking when's he going to ride the 450? But he answered those questions at the press conference. We got it right here.
I'm sticking to 250, and I mean, moving up too quick is just that could put you in a bad position, and there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of trophies to bring home in the 250 class, and that's still right now 250s until we obviously you got to win your Supercross, and then you have a year to defend. So once we win the Supercross title, then we get a year to defend, but as of now, 250s for now.
But no, he basically just said to the fans, like, he's got a Supercross championship still to win, and he wants to defend his outdoor championship. So That's
Yeah,
what
I agree. I mean, from a fan's perspective, everybody's asking, yeah, when's he moving to 450? When's he moving? Honestly, he's not ready yet. Number one, it's not, in my opinion, he's not ready. What you see on a 250 and racing, the amount of races that he races throughout the year compared to the 450 class, we've all said it, we've all done it. Anybody that's been successful in the 250 class and has moved to the 450 class, they all have a learning year 9 times out of 10. And there's goals and accomplishments that haven't been reached yet. Like, yes, okay, great, he's got one championship, he's got a couple of championships under his belt, but there's a whole lot more to win. To make it into the he's already into the record books, I should say, in a lot of areas, but from a championship standpoint, he's not sitting on top of the board just yet in that particular area. And as we know, bragging rights, out there stacking those championships, cashing those checks is a huge one too. Like, being in his position right now, he should try to soak it up as much as he can and put as much cash away in the bank as he can, because once he moves to 450, it is a different ball game. As we all know, you dealt with it, Ricky. I dealt with it. It was a struggle for me for 2 years, in the 450 class. So, I moral of the story is enjoy it now while you can, because the 450 class is never as easy as the 250 class.
That's I mean, they're all good. And the thing, like, what I was blown away when I went from 125 250 is like every one of those guys do everything good. Like, most of them get pretty good starts. They're strategy wise, they're good, and they just have experience. It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I agree with you. Enjoy it while you can, and don't rush. Like I've told them, like, dude, why rush if you don't have to, right? Again, stack those championships, take the money, build that foundation, and make sure you're ready to go by the time you get into the 450. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to see when he does make the jump, just like I was with any young kid coming from the 250 going into the 450. How long is it going to take them to adapt? Just because, like what you alluded to, just how hard it is. It's a big jump. It was bigger than what I thought. And again, like it took me 2 years, took you a few. It isn't
exactly
easy.
And we were the best of the best in the you 125 class, me the 250 class also. We were the best of the best, and we still struggled. So not to say that Hayden's going to struggle when he turns 450, but there's a lot more moving parts to that class than there is the 250 class.
So you saw RJ crash. Hopefully you're okay, RJ. Jimmy K _140 asks, what's the comparison of how tough blocks help the riders compared to make them crash? That's actually that's pretty good. It does seem, you've talked about this. Sometimes you think it makes it worse.
Yeah, I mean the foam, dude. There's no lie. The foam tough blocks are on one hand a problem when you hit them. That's when you hit them. You're not supposed to hit them. They're on the side of the track as a marker. As we watch RJ jump, you can see as he doubled in, he seat bounces. You can see he's a little right here. He's a little off balance. He's heading towards that very far right. He tries to correct it in the air, but just catches those 2 Oakley tough blocks and throws him down. And that I bet you it didn't look like a super gnarly crash. Like, it wasn't like this big giant cartwheel end over end, but the way he landed was a very, very awkward landing, right on the face of that jump. So, to your point, hopefully he's okay. We'll see him in Vegas. I'm sure he's sore after that one, but, it was hay bales. Now it's tough blocks. It doesn't matter what it is. Riders are going to hit them. You're supposed to stay off of them.
Yeah. I think the tough blocks get moved around a little bit easier.
Yep.
And it kind of jacks people up compared to hay bales. You've raced in hay bale days. I have too. They definitely don't move as much. That's for sure. Probably better in that type scenario. But honestly, whether that was a hay bale or whether that was a tough block in that specific situation, it wouldn't have mattered. I don't think.
No. And they're there. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. They're there for a reason. They're the track border. They're the track markers. And I think I said this to somebody the other day, watching like Haiden ride at his full potential, and Jett and Hunter and all the top guys, and RJ. Some guys, to me, when I watch them, they're just managing going just that fast. Like, to go to that top level speed, it takes everything just to manage that. But then if you watch like Hunter, and you watch or Jett and Hunter and Haiden, they are able to go that fast, but also manage the wheel spin. They're thinking, instead of just thinking about how can I go this fast and stay with those front riders, they're able to think 3 or 4 things at the same time. And I think that's when you really put those top riders under a magnifying glass, and you're like, dude, these guys are unbelievable. Wheel spin off the takeoff, coming out of the turns, going that speed, making passes. They're thinking 3, 4, 5 things all at one thing. And I think that's what makes a great rider versus a good rider. Like RJ is a really solid, phenomenal, good rider. He's got race wins under his belt, but
championship.
But at this point, and it's not a dig at him, but I wouldn't put RJ in that, and a lot of riders in that great category yet, because he still has too many mistakes. There's too many crashes. There's too many things that go wrong throughout a season. And the great riders, are able to, as we're watching RJ go down right here.
Yeah, Jordan Smith got a piece of him there.
The inside. That's what makes, in my opinion, that's what makes a great rider, is being able to mitigate all of those risks and go the fastest and be the fastest rider on the track, and consistently do it every weekend.
Yep, 100%. Dude, Joe doing good, coming off that broken collarbone. I think he's been super impressive. When you think 4 weeks off, comes out, dude, takes the lead. Haiden slips up just a little bit there in that small little rhythm lane, and Joe gets by him, but he's done well in tough conditions. Cool to see when you take everything in consideration. And he only rode like a day or two before the SMX playoff started because of that broken collarbone. Tom Vialle did well also.
I actually, he did well. He did do well. I kind of figured that track may suit Tom a little bit better in a result.
I did too, actually.
Yeah. Very, very kind of Euro style, technical, hard, slippery. So I not that I was expecting him to win, but I thought he would be a little more up in the mix, being that I just thought that track would suit him maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, a convincing second, if you will, right? Respectfully. As we wrap up the United Motorsports segment of the show today, I talked to you guys about the giveaway prize that they're doing, and I have some details. So that's why you need to sign up. Sign up at unitedmotorsports.com/title24. You'll have an opportunity to win a $50 gift card, and also you get a $15 credit on your initial sign-in. But that sweepstakes grand prize for the championship is a Boxo 3-drawer moto box, set of Dunlop MX tires, quad lock gift card, and a Cardo Pack Talk Edge. And you'll get an autographed jersey from RV and an autographed jersey from myself. So I think hopefully you'll like that. And so get on there and sign up. Good stuff. And I think we'll announce the winner next week. So awesome. Get after it. Moving along, quad lock question of the week. This is a good one. It's tricky. But our winner this week is Ron Jameson. Ron, congratulations on the quad lock question of the week here at Title 24. You are the lucky winner. If our co-host JH hasn't reached out to you yet, I'm sure you will hear from him. You'll probably have already heard from him while you're listening to the show. Anyhow, so Ron asks, what race format do you think yields the right winner? 1 main event, 2 motos, or Triple Crown? That's a really, really good question. So it could be confusing, depending upon how you read it. So, what do you?
I think. Look, number one, I can go back to Monster Cup 3 motor format, right? I was able to race that a few years. I think one moto format, as we see in Supercross, is and that's what Supercross always is. So I mean, it's always been that way. Main event, and you come away with the best rider on that night. But I can guarantee you, there's a lot of guys, and there's a lot of nights that I wish we had two motos. So I think having the two motos really is it brings, I don't want to use the word grit, but you gotta show up at the gate drop two times in a row, right? And be solid. It's not just based on one gate drop. So I think that for outdoors, we have two motos. SMX, we have two motos. I like the two moto format because you always have that second moto to kind of redeem yourself.
Yeah.
It's not just based on that one gate drop in that 20-minute Supercross moto or 20 laps when I raced and you raced, Ricky. So there's a lot of nights I wish we had another moto to be able to back up or change the mistakes or change the bike or whatever the case may be. So I think two moto format is what I like.
Same. I think it's a fair compromise because, again, to all the points, and I'm going to spare everyone the time, RV hit the nail on the head with that. Ron, what he said, Triple Crown, I am a massive fan of the Triple Crown. RV, I know you are because we're sitting on this side of the handlebars and we're not out there racing, but it is exciting. You get to watch 3 abbreviated main events. Everyone can go fast for 10 minutes or 10 minutes plus 1 lap. That's why I love it. I don't think it really shows. What it shows is which guys can manage 3 motos in one night, how good they are at managing that, right? That's what. But 2 motos across the board is what I think is yields the right winner. Certainly for the SMX World Championship, I am 100% on you. That way, something goes wrong the first moto, something silly happens, race situation, you have another moto to redeem yourself. So for sure, the 2 motos. So congratulations, Ron. Fabulous question, by the way. And hopefully you enjoyed RV's insight and what he thought would yield the right winner. I am agreeant with him 100%. Somebody who's beating me up on one of our posts, RV, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago. He's like, RC, you never disagree with RV and like ever. And I'm like, well, I was saying to myself, oh yeah, because we've been super successful and we kind of think the same and have the same strategies. There's certain things where,
Totally.
Like it's like great minds think alike. There's
Yep.
a lot of multi-time champions.
We should have 14 whoops, and you think we should have no whoops.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're exactly. See, there you go. So that whoever was hammering on me, yeah, like I'm all for the 9 whoop rule. I'm all for it.
I think 9, 10, 12. I think
whatever.
whatever.
What about rider safety, bro? You don't care about rider safety?
I mean, look, I don't know. I think we did it. Why can't they?
I'm with you. All right, the last segment before we get into the Texas preview. Our man at Fowler's Facts, Clinton Fowler from We Went Fast, he brings up a really good question. So for this week's Dunlop debate, go over to Dunlop, check it out. It's been hot. Get you a scoop tire if you haven't used it. I haven't used it, but everyone who's listening or watching this show, I think just out of curiosity, you should go get one. But right?
Clearly it's working well.
Then you'll know what all these riders are talking about and the decisions they're faced with. Do I go with the scoop? Do I not go with the scoop?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Go to Dunlop's website and check it out and order you one up. Best tire in the business, by the way. But anyhow, Clinton asks, and it's kind of a preview, I feel like, going into Texas. Who's got the most pressure among those top 3?
That's a good question.
I myself personally, I think Chase does. I think because the reason that I say that is because he hasn't won the SMX World Championship. I think that him being able to win the SMX World Championship with everybody in the field, Eli, Jett, those two legends for sure, I think would mean a lot to him. Jett's already done that.
Yep.
And I think he's checked those boxes off. So that's why I think there's more pressure on Chase to
And
win. That's
yeah,
why.
yeah, I agree 100%.
See, you're agreeing with me, dude.
I am agreeing with you, and why I say that is if you look at the Mount Rushmores, like, you can put Eli up on top of that right now.
Yep.
He's made his name. He's won lots of championships. He's 31 years old. We know we're going to get him for another year, but and after that probably retire. Let's be honest, and maybe not. But I'm just from a fan and knowing where he's at, 3 kids, at the stage of his life, things like that.
Yep.
Like, I only see retirement being coming here very shortly. Another a year or another 2 years, whatever that is, but it's going to be within the next 12 to 24 months. Jett coming in at his young age. You could also put him probably up on that Mount Rushmore here, if not already, very soon. Lots of championships under his belt, lots of race wins. So I think the reason why I say Chase is just with yes, he has some championships, but nowhere near what Jett has, nowhere near what Eli has yet. He also made the big transition over to KTM, and the Red Bull KTM guys, and I think the pressure is on Chase. To your point, to win with the stacked field, 100% of the riders involved in the racing, and then also just for himself. Like, I think that's for the feather in his cap and the confidence side of it. Like, I think that it's him. He's the one that kind of needs to get that done, so that I feel like he's not that he doesn't consider himself on that Mount Rushmore, but that's what he's missing, in my opinion.
100%, without a doubt. I think that, well, number one, I think, like, as far as talking about Hunter, I didn't Anaheim 1, I didn't expect him to be in the situation that he is in right now. And then after Unadilla, when I said what I was saying, that, I'm like, dude, he could be pretty good because he's progressed so much. I think that going to everything that you talked about and that I talked about, that's why I think it's the most important for Chase. To answer your question, Clint, that was a really, really good question. Again, Jett's done it all, and I think it's just straight up. It's time for Chase to get it done with everybody in the field. He's done everything except that, and I think it would speak volumes for him mentally. I think it would do a lot for him mentally, and it would give him a really nice boost of confidence going into the 2025 season. And it's going to be exciting to see how he plays out, which leads us to the Texas preview. Triple Crown points. So basically, it's winner take all scenario. Omega LOL 69XD asks, if you guys are in a 3-way tie going into the finale, what would be your mindset? And I've been in that situation in 2006, so I'll take this one. I think that first and foremost, you have to have a good week of preparation. At least if it was me, I wanted to have a good week of preparation, and I would try to tune the track to the best of my abilities to be as similar as what I was going into the race weekend. And in 06, like, I left it dry and kind of marbly because that's how Vegas was.
Yep.
And then from a race strategy standpoint, position myself where I played little defense on the start, make sure that I could at least get through the start within the top 3, at the worst top 5, to where I have a shot at those guys if they went 1-2 off the start. So that's what I'm doing from a start standpoint. And depending on who I'm racing, I think if you're like for me, I knew that I couldn't beat Stu, so I was just going to follow him in hopes that we could pull away from Chad, and it worked out perfectly. And all I had to do is get second to win the championship. So that, like, we can role play each rider and tell them what their game plan should be. So I think overall, that's what they need to do. They need to play some defense. I think if you have a speed advantage, that certainly helps. And go out and do your best. Don't override it and be there at the end, because if you override and you pump up, you might crash, something like that. Like, just do what you've been doing and give yourself the best shot to win, because all you can do is take care of yourself. If you start playing someone else's game and wondering what they're doing, then they've already got you beat. So you go focus on yourself. And that's what I think. That would be, if I was coaching these dudes, this is how I would approach the weekend.
Yep. Yeah. I 100% agree. And that defense you talk about for lining up, we always had at Vegas. We'll use Vegas because that's what we've raced on. There's always that left-hand start outside the stadium coming down like Thunder Alley, or I think they called it, positioning yourself kind of on the inside gate, with anywhere from 2 to 5 on the inside, so that, then the only thing you're managing is your start, your jump off of the line. If you get a jump off the line, you're going to control that inside turn. And if you're not first to the first turn, you're going to come out second or third, right? So that's why I always liked those inside gates, or more inside than out by the box. And then for me, let that race kind of come to you. Like, you can't try to play devil's advocate and get in somebody else's head, because then you're not thinking about your race. You have to be thinking about your race, what you're going to do, and stick to your plan, and ride the wheels off of it.
I want to see what the track looks like. It goes back to like the starts you were talking about, but here's a layout of the start. Looks like it's going to be a lot faster, kind of supercrossy and tight. Where the start is, it looks like it might be
another split start right in the middle.
Yep. There's
so left start, and then a right. Yep.
Yeah. So looks like long straightaway there. So you're definitely going to want to line up on the inside, like you're talking about. Maybe the left hand, you might want to start on the right, so you have a left hand first corner, possibly.
Yep.
But also
right side, so you're going left.
Yep. And it comes together. The start comes together in the middle. So a lot of it, the stuff on the start is definitely going to depend on how the track is prepped. If one side's going to be drier than the other side, and where the grip is going to be, so that's going to become a factor. But definitely starting on the inside and giving yourself a great shot to come around that first corner within the top 3. If you're Jett Lawrence, if you're Chase Sexton, or you're Hunter, you're going to want to be within that 1 to 3 range, because if not, it's going to be really, really hard. I feel like a good racetrack though. It looks good.
Yep. But I think the biggest thing, like you said, it's going to be hot. You know how dry Vegas is. No matter where they kind of get the dirt in Vegas, I think it's all pretty similar. Hard pack, blue groove. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can keep the water in, how the track develops. I see from, we had a split start at Charlotte. But it seemed like I think it was the right side, you would make a right-hand turn at Charlotte, and then you'd have a whole lot of speed coming into that like roller double section that they had built. And we saw a lot of hole shots actually come from the right side, a little more speed coming into that second turn. As we see here in Vegas, it's directly back up down the chute, right down the middle, straight toward the tunnel jump, as we see, right? One's going to go right, one's going to go left, and you're going to come straight back down to the tunnel jump, essentially that tabletop. So that may be a little more. What's going to happen here is it's going to be much more critical for your gate drop, your reaction time, but also getting through the left or the right hand turn, so that you can get back down to that tabletop over the start.
Yeah. Ooh, that kind of track. I bet Eli liked this track, it being fast like that. The outdoor section part of it, that might it being a little more outdoorsy might play into Eli. So keep your eye on there. I mean, I know we're talking about the potentials of the top 3 with Hunter, Chase, and Jett going in for the championship. But dude, there's still a lot on the line for a guy like Eli, or Kenny for that matter. Those guys are capable of winning and running up front, and they could be wild cards as far as mixing it up and working to one of the championship contenders' advantages or disadvantages. So a lot to look forward to, no doubt.
It looks like Aaron, our producer here, says it is a night race, so that'll definitely help with conditions throughout the day. It's going to be probably pretty terrible with the wind and the heat and trying to keep water in the track. But as the sun sets, everybody knows the moisture kind of comes up. SMX track crew does a great job. Obviously, they're not dealing with any of the sun beating down on the track at that point. So we should have some pretty good race conditions. 7 p.m. locally is when gate drops. So that's gonna help out the conditions a lot. Also, I'll be honest, I like Supercross to be at night. That's just me.
See, I'm cool with the day races.
Yeah,
I would much rather race in the day than the night. I hated racing at night. I hated it. Yeah, I'm like, I'm a like a daytime dude, you know.
All right.
You know, are you bringing the boys?
I'm waiting for them. It's their 8th birthday, guys, and I told them you decide what I'm doing this year. But I said next year's you'll be almost 9, and at that point I'm gonna have to push you guys off and do my job. So I don't think at this point we're heading into Vegas. I'm a little bummed about it, but next year we'll be there.
You know your boy Pulp has been dragging you through
I
the
know,
things, right? Just dogging you.
Yeah, he's been dogging me big time, but I'll get him back. I'm making notes of all this stuff. So Steve, you just better be prepared.
No doubt. Roll the Motorsports on NBC this week. Dude, it was an epic NASCAR race at Watkins Glen, by the way. If you haven't, go check that out. But here you go, 2 p.m. SMX Insider with Weege and JT. As you guys know, don't know who's their big interview is, but that'll be on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Race day live starts with practice and qualifying. You're definitely not going to want to miss that. Then 7 p.m. Eastern on USA is Bristol. NASCAR Cup Series. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be tight. I'm not sure if it's an elimination round. It might be. So make sure you tune in that. I mean, it is an elimination round. A lot of guys lost some points this weekend at Watkins Glen early on. And then, of course, Super Motocross World Championship Finals. It all comes down to this weekend. Who is going to hoist that trophy up? 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Live on Peacock, and we will have an encore on Sunday for the SMX finale from Las Vegas, and that'll be on Big NBC at 1 p.m. Sunday. So make sure you guys check it out. Here you go. Big weekend for a lot of people in motorsports, especially SMX and NASCAR. It being a elimination round, but it's been a hell of a season so far. RV with the Monster Energy Supercross, and then Pro Motocross, and then now, of course, the second running of the SMX World Championship. Couldn't have drawn it up better. I think there's no disputing just how well that everyone behind the scenes, especially at Feld, have done to come up with this points tier and double points, triple points. We have a 3-way battle for the World Championship. I mean, you can't write it up. You can't write that script any better than how it's playing out.
Nope. That's what we all asked for. That's what we all hoped for, right? Our situation that we're going into Vegas, the very last round of SMX points are at least in the 450 class, very, very close. And you can't ask for any more than that. It's going down to the very last round, selling out, seats and tickets, and everybody wants to go and see who's going to be crowned that champion. So as right now, it looks like Deegs has got that under control in the 250 class, but the premier, the 450 class, the big dogs, it is still undecided and very, very close in a point situation.
Yeah. United Motorsports Quad Lock case, Boxo USA and Dunlop. Thank you guys very much. Remember, the audio version of Title 24 is available anywhere where you download all of your favorite podcasts. And then, of course, we're live on Peacock, always on demand, and then the Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page. You can watch that, view it there as well. Again, Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page, and Peacock if you want to view it. So we appreciate everyone. We are going to dig into this thing for our final one, I believe, of the season next Monday. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot to unpack, I'm sure. Again, light today, and we hope that you guys have enjoyed our insights. And we, again, thank you for all the support. We got the best fans in the business. So, RV, have a hell of a week, and we will. I won't see you in Vegas. Hopefully,
yeah.
Selfishly, I'm hoping the boys say, "Take us to Vegas, Dad, Mom, and
I
Dad."
know.
If so, just make sure you bring me some beverages. Okay.
I will, buddy. I will.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys, RV, and we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.